Myths about the full moon in European countries. When you look at the full moon from Europe, it always feels like it has a story. The sky is bright, everything turns silvery, and people in ancient times believed the moon wasn't just a rock orbiting the Earth. It was alive, it controlled fate, it could make people go crazy, fall in love, or even turn into a wolf. That's why even today many European traditions still follow the full moon. 1. Ancient Greece and Rome, the goddesses of the moon in power. The ancient Greeks actually had 3 moon goddesses, and all of them appeared during the full moon. Selene was the goddess of the moon who drove a silver chariot pulled by white horses across the sky every night. When it was a full moon, it meant Selene was coming down closest to Earth to watch over humans. That's why Greeks believed prayers said during a full moon would be heard directly by Selene. Then there was Artemis, the goddess of hunting and purity. The full moon was her sacred night. Hunters were not allowed to hunt during a full moon because it was considered Artemis's day off. If they broke the rule, their prey could disappear or the hunter would get lost in the forest. And the most famous one, Hecate, the goddess of magic and crossroads. Hecate only came out during the full moon and the new moon. Greeks believed witches would gather at 3-way crossroads during a full moon to make potions. That's why even today in Europe, the phrase full moon is often linked to magic. 2. Northern Europe and Vikings, wolves, war, and omens. Scandinavia and Germany have the scariest full moon myth, werewolves. The legend says that a cursed person would turn into a wild wolf exactly when the full moon rose. That's why Viking villages used to lock all their doors tight and no one would go outside at night during a full moon. They believed the full moon pulled out the wild side of humans. But it wasn't all scary. Vikings also used the full moon as a sign for farming. They had a calendar called the lunar calendar. The first full moon after the winter solstice was called the Yule moon. If the Yule moon was super bright, it meant the harvest next year would be good. If it was cloudy, it meant winter would be long and food had to be saved. The Celts in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales saw the full moon as a gateway to the fairy world. They believed the veil between the human world and the city or fairy world became thinnest during a full moon. That's why you were not supposed to sleep directly under moonlight, because fairies could steal your soul or swap you with a changeling, a fairy baby. The Celts also had a ritual called moon blessing. Young women would wash their faces with dew collected on the first full moon night in May. It was believed to keep them young and beautiful for a whole year. 3. Western Europe, love, fertility, and bad luck. England has lots of superstitions about the full moon. The most famous is moonstruck. People in Old England believed that if you slept with your head directly in moonlight, you could go crazy. That's where the word lunatic comes from the word luna, umalse moon. Mental hospitals were even called lunatic asylums back then. But the full moon was also seen as the most romantic. There's the myth of the harvest moon, which is the full moon closest to autumn. English farmers believed that if you got married during the harvest moon, your marriage would be fertile and your fortune would overflow because the moon looked biggest and brightest. France has the myth of lune rousse, or the red moon. If the April full moon looked reddish, wine farmers in Bordeaux would panic. They believed it was a sign that frost was coming to ruin the grapevines. So they would burn piles of straw in the vineyards to warm up the air. Italy, especially in Sicily, believed the full moon could heal. People would hang out clothes, jewelry, and even themselves under moonlight. They believed moonlight could cleanse negative energy and sickness. Pregnant women were also not allowed to go out during a full moon because it was believed their baby could be born with a moon mark on its body.